Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and I am so excited because in today's video, we're talking all about decorating small kitchens, not renovating them. If you're interested in renovating a small kitchen, I'd suggest checking out this lovely video right over here. But in today's video, we're decorating. And the first thing we have to talk about when it comes to decorating a small kitchen is actually decluttering the space. You know, a small kitchen is small and we don't want to have a ton of clutter and unnecessary stuff covering up the countertops because that's really useful space. And I don't think that applies just to a small kitchen. Any size really needs to be decluttered in order to be functional and look good. And the big thing about a kitchen is no matter the size, big or small, you need to have the same amount of stuff to do the same things. So cooking utensils are necessary, but we have to have a lot of storage for them. And the answer to that is organizational methods like organizational inserts for your drawers to organize all of your utensils. Yes, I just said organize 5 times in a row. That's fine. Organization is everything in a small kitchen, and if you have one, you know that. So whatever methods you can employ to do that are great, and it's worth looking into. Go to some organizational stores, walk around and see what they have. If you can't access a store like that or you just don't want to, maybe you could access my Amazon storefront linked in the description box down below where I have an entire section dedicated to kitchen organization because it is essential in your home. Maybe you'll see some things there that you love and are essential and some things that you're like, hey, you know what, I think it could be designed better to serve my needs. There is an organizer for absolutely everything. I don't care if it's cooking sheets, baking sheets, pots and pans. I don't care if it's your trash can. I don't care if it's all of your cooking utensils. Like there is an organizer out there for it that will enhance the space. Like risers for your cabinets for storing soup cans. Like they are great because you can see absolutely everything. And like I said, in order to cook all of the same things, you need the same utensils. So organizing them is essential in a small kitchen. And the other thing we can do is eliminate a lot of useless decor through decluttering. Get rid of it, we don't need to see it. But when it comes time to decorate, we need to use decor that is thoughtful, and that's the next thing you have to consider is decor that serves a function. When it comes to decor in a kitchen, it has to be functional no matter the size, especially in a small kitchen. So I like to use things that I can actually use when I'm cooking. For example, a cutting board. I'm gonna get a beautiful cutting board and put it in my kitchen because while it's sitting out there, it serves as decor. It's adding something to the space, a warm tone and element to the area. I just love that. So a cutting board is great, and you can look for them that are vintage style or inspired. That way you don't have like a stack of vintage cutting boards you can't use that are serving no function and taking up space. Functional decor, essential in a small kitchen. Another example would be wooden utensils, cooking utensils. I love them because they look great. I can have a jar of them sitting on my counter right next to my cooktop and I can use them, but I don't have to take up valuable drawer space because they're aesthetic, they're beautiful, they look good sitting there, and there's a dedicated spot for them in my kitchen. And then I can take that drawer space and use it for something else and I get more function out of it. I actually have quite a bit of cookware, so some of it is on the counter and it looks aesthetic, and some of it's in a drawer. Those things that don't look quite as good or are more functional than aesthetic, I can tuck them away and I have the space to do that because I'm dividing it between the two, and you can do that in a smaller kitchen. Another thing to think about might be a cookbook stand, something aesthetic like that, but you're getting functionality out of it, or appliances that work within your space and match everything. You know, an example would be like, you know, a vintage or a retro style appliance for your kitchen, or, you know, like a KitchenAid, not sponsored, mixer or something. If you're going to use that, don't have it just because it's aesthetic and it looks good. Get it because you're actually going to use it and it's functional for you. The same thing goes for a toaster. If you're gonna have a toaster sitting out, make sure it matches the space and looks good. Something I would actually recommend, I'm eating my words here a little bit, is in a smaller kitchen, it might make sense not to have the microwave on a countertop, and maybe it does go above the oven. Maybe it goes into a cubby down below if you're renovating. That's something to think about. And if you are considering having that microwave above your cooktop, just remember it is up high and is the possibility of spilling something on yourself that's hot, so you definitely want to be careful. It's not my #1 recommended thing, but to get that off of the counter, maybe you can find a creative place to put it that is safe for you. It's something to think about. But you can add a lot of functionality through the decor in your kitchen. Now, I would limit myself to a few things that are not necessary and just aesthetic. Like an example would be on a kitchen island, you could do a large vase with branches or a floral arrangement. That's okay because it's not taking up an overwhelming amount of space. You still have plenty of space to do the things that need to be done in a kitchen, but it's not overwhelming. Another example of something you could get rid of is a candle. People love candles. Candles are small. They tend to look like clutter. They're also very expensive, like $38 for a candle. Like, you serious? Come on. What you could do instead, if you're entertaining, bake us some cookies. Bake us some cookies, serve them to the guests so they have something to eat, and the home smells like fresh cookies. I love that. It's a great way to get rid of some of the clutter you don't need in your kitchen, but you also get something delicious to eat, and I love that for you. And I know that designing or decorating your home, especially a kitchen, can be overwhelming and difficult, but if you need a little assistance, I am at your service. You could always book a one-on-one design and decorating consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. We can do a one-on-one video consultation. You can show me around and ask your questions and I can answer all of them for you. And if you're lucky, you might even get to see Arden, won't they? Such a stinker. Little Grinch. Okay, the Grinch is laying in my lap and we are gonna talk about something really important in any kitchen, let alone a small kitchen, and that's lighting. I love great lighting. Lighting is one of my favorite things in the world because it really changes the way a space looks and feels and the way you interact in it. In a small kitchen, there's a lot you can do with lighting. Obviously, you're gonna have some sort of overhead lighting. You might have recessed lighting, that's great. I would do it in a warm tone, a brighter warm tone, probably not the 2700 that I'm such a fan of. Maybe you dip into the 3000, so it's a little brighter. You get functionality out of it, and that's great. I like a good overhead light fixture in a small kitchen. There's so much you can do in a small kitchen with an overhead fixture because you can really set the tone for the style of your home. Like we can do that with furniture and the rest of the house, but what are we gonna do in the kitchen? Because there's not furniture, there's built-in cabinetry and everything. So a light fixture is a great place to do that with. Something overwhelming, something statement, something interesting. It could be a flush-mounted fixture or pendants. Those are always great in a kitchen. Under cabinet lighting, I love because it's task lighting. It's great for adding another layer into the space. It's a little difficult to install and can be expensive. So there are some battery-operated rechargeable options available in my Amazon storefront that you should check out. My favorite thing to do in a kitchen of any size, and it's something to think about in a small one, is actually the rechargeable LED lamp. I love a rechargeable lamp because you get something small, they're little, there's no cords, cables, or wires unless you're charging them, which you do once and then they're fine for a while. You don't have to have a ton of stuff surrounding that. It's not a big ordeal. They usually are like on and off. They could be on a timer, whatever. They're so great. I love a rechargeable light, especially in a kitchen. There's nothing more like dainty and demure than a little lamp in your kitchen, and I think that's exciting if you have the space for it in that smaller kitchen, because not everyone does, and that's okay. Lighting is great in every kitchen, and you can also add lighting above your cabinets, because often in a smaller kitchen, you're in maybe like more of a loft type of space, or you have really tall ceilings. Well, cool, that's fine. Add some lighting up there because the cabinetry doesn't extend to the ceiling. We can create some interest through layered lighting in a kitchen. That's great, especially for a small kitchen, because a small space can be the most impactful, and I think that is essential and interesting to incorporate into one of them. Speaking of what's essential in your home, well, getting some great design advice is, which is why you should take this moment and hit the subscribe button and join us, become a part of our GarrettLeChic family, and call yourself one of the original OGs if you subscribe before we reach our 100,000 subscriber mark. I'm so excited to have you as a part of our GarrettLeChic family, and I would also be really excited if you'd give this video a like. Let's talk about hardware in a kitchen, because big or small, hardware makes a big statement, and that is something worth having in every space. Hardware is the jewelry of the kitchen, and I love a good piece of jewelry. So you've got to have great hardware in that space. Hardware comes in a lot of different places. That light fixture is a piece of hardware. It's metallic, it's a metal. The appliances in your kitchen are hardware. And the same thing goes for the actual knobs, handles, pulls on your cabinetry, your sink faucet. Your sink itself can be a piece of hardware. And those are opportunities to add interest into that space. You don't have to use the same hardware finish throughout the entire kitchen. You can actually mix two of them together to create something that has some personality to it. Go with stainless steel appliances and then throw us in some brass hardware. That's interesting, it's a contrast, it's great. You know, I would avoid something like white cabinets with a matte black hardware because it could be a lot, but if you really like that black hardware, I say go for it and do it, especially on a black cabinet. Oh, that's great. There's a lot of different options out there, and you can once again set a style in your space depending on the hardware you choose. You know, if you have two of the same exact kitchen with two different styles of hardware, one could be very contemporary and the other could be really traditional, and that's great, and I love that about hardware. And especially with a faucet on your sink, that is the place. That is the place. You know, they say kitchens and bathrooms sell homes and everything, that's wonderful, but the faucet on your sink sends the message. Who you are as a person. Are you modern, chic, sophisticated? Are you classic and timeless and elegant? It says exactly what you are. So you can look at different options out there. Like in British homes, for example, they love to have a boiling hot water tap. Excellent idea. I mean, that's great. It does require electrical for that, but that's something really efficient and effective in those spaces that maybe you think about putting into your home as well. You could do unlacquered brass to get that aged look, or something really contemporary that has a lot of like modern technology and functionality to it. I love a bridge style chrome faucet for that really classic traditional look. All of those are okay to do in a small kitchen. It's just about the functionality and then incorporating your personality or your overall design style into that space. A faucet's a great place to do that. And like I said, a sink can be hardware too. Black stainless steel is super, and stainless steel itself is great. I love a cast iron apron front sink. That's amazing. And stone sinks are also very popular. There's so much you can do with hardware in your kitchen. Give it a lot of thought. Give it a lot of consideration, because that is the statement. That is the jewelry of the space. And you can have a lot of fun with it, especially in a smaller kitchen. Now, let's talk about the next thing that makes a small kitchen incredible. That's paint. What are you doing on your walls and your ceiling and your trim, on your cabinetry? What's happening with the paint? You can add so much layering and detail and luxury into a small kitchen with paint colors. A small kitchen, sometimes they're, you know, like a little private room off to themselves. That's a great place for a jewel box. Give me something bold, give me something impactful, lacquer everything, make it stand out and sparkle and shine, because it has the opportunity to be something special. If it's an open concept space and you have a kitchen there, you're like, I don't know what to do with it, like it doesn't blend with everything, that's the perfect time to pull some of that cabinetry tones or the countertop tones, paint the walls, add some accents in them in the rest of the space to really create a cohesive look and feel throughout your home that feels very elevated and interesting and chic. You can also neutralize a space. You could color drench a space. I love color drenching. It's a great trend right now and something interesting to think about. If you have painted cabinetry, paint everything that color. Paint the walls, the ceiling, the trim, all of it to really envelop the envelope in that interesting color. I think that's so unique and chic and unexpected as well. Small kitchens have so much potential for greatness. You just have to think outside of the box sometimes. And that might just be through paint and the colors you're choosing in that space. Maybe it's a classic, simple, basic, easy to use kitchen, but having an interesting color could set the stage for something special to happen in that space. And here's another great tip. If you're in a smaller kitchen and you don't have a full height backsplash, you can actually take the color of that splash back, the little 4-inch riser you have there, and take that color and paint the walls that tone. That way it kind of creates the illusion that you do have that full height backsplash. You can blur that boundary and make the kitchen look more elevated, more interesting, more chic, more built out, honestly, and really up the ante in that space. Even if it's a very basic builder grade kitchen, if it's something that's like partially done, oh, we don't have the budget for the backsplash right now, you don't even need it. Just paint the walls that color and it's great. And paint is something that's easier to change than like a stone countertop or backsplash. And I think it's something worth thinking about in your home. Now, like I said, if you are renovating a small kitchen, I would suggest checking out, this video right over here to learn all about some of my top tips for small kitchen renovations. And be sure you check out this video right here so you can avoid kitchen design mistakes that are making your kitchen look gross because that's gross. Nobody wants to see an ugly, dirty, nasty kitchen. Check that video out. Click this beautiful picture of me to subscribe to the channel, and I would be grateful for it. And I will see you, hopefully, in one of these two videos. I'm right over there.